welcome here. I am here with Stacy with Delta Fitness. I'm Chef Christina Gleason here at Creations Catering. Stacy, so happy you're here today.
We're so excited to be here in this collaboration, Christina, in this amazing space these guys have in this most beautiful catering business here in New Braunfels. So we're thrilled to be involved. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, and I'm just thankful that we could partner together and do something collaborative.
Exactly, something for the festive season. So now Thanksgiving has come and gone.
Yes.
We're now facing Christmas, and I think we're all looking forward to a bit of Christmas, aren't we? A bit of Christmas cheer.
Yes, we are, and I love your idea of your dish over here. So can you kind of explain what you're doing today?
Absolutely. So I'm going to start. I'm going to do our entree for today. So I thought I'd bring together a couple of things. In Australia, it's hot right now. So we eat a lot of seafood and salmon and so forth for Christmas, rather than some of the more traditional hot meals. So I thought a really nice salmon dish I would make for tonight.
I think that sounds great.
And it's got a maple spice on it, it's got some pomegranate salsa going on, so it actually brings together quite a nice little marriage of Texas and Australia.
It sounds almost Australian-American fusion that
it
you
really
have going
does.
on.
It really does. Pomegranates are in season. I'm excited to get started. I've got a beautiful piece of salmon here.
Yeah.
So how about I get going?
Go ahead.
All right, well, you'll just follow along. Okay, so I have got a really beautiful pin-boned piece of salmon here. I'm just going to quickly season that. So we're going to use the oven for this today. You could also use the broiler, or as I would say, the grill, for this dish as well. That will probably give a little bit more colour to the end result. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take my couple of tablespoons of maple syrup, and I'm just going to pop those here into my little container here. I'm just going to pop those in there. I've got some cloves of garlic that, look, I've already taken the opportunity, so we didn't hold you all up all night, of already sort of pre-slicing. And I'm just going to pop those in my press, give them a good squeeze. Here we go, they're going to pop out like that. Oh, bit of noise from me. There we go. I'm going to pop a couple more of these in here. Get rid of that there. Here we go. So this is really beautiful, because I know very much, particularly through my husband, who absolutely loves maple syrup, that it's a very, very popular thing for pancakes here. So I thought that's why that would be quite perfect. What I have here is a Moroccan spice, okay? Please don't ask me to pronounce it, because I really can't. I'm going to pop 1.5 teaspoons of the Moroccan spice in here, and that's really going to add a good bit of zing to my glaze here. So I'm just going to mix all of this together. You can see that's coming together really nicely now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this on. I'm just going to use my little brush here, and I'm just going to pop some of this on and just let it sit there for a minute while I make the salsa. And that way it'll just have a moment just to really kind of sink in there and get nice and flavoursome for us. So let's just pop that on and leave that there. All right, so I'm just going to pop that there. Now, all I've got going on here is a whole pomegranate worth of pomegranate seeds. I've taken the opportunity to actually get these out, because we know what that's like. That's always a bit of fun to get those out of there. I'm going to add to that already pre-washed about half of the cilantro leaves from a cilantro bunch. I'm going to pop those in there. I would say coriander, but we'll say cilantro today. Here we go with a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to pop in my cucumber. So like all good salsas, I love cucumber in a good salsa. So I'm just going to go ahead, in the interests of time, and just pop a little bit of this in, and then I can finish the rest of that a little bit later. I'm just going to pop a little bit of this in here. I like it to be quite chunky. It does call for a fine dice, but I'm always quite happy with a little bit of a chunky sort of a salsa there as well. I'm going to throw all that in here for you. I love how sharp these knives are. They're much better than the ones in my kitchen, let me tell you. All right, so slicing there. So you get the idea. We're going to pop all of that in there. like so. Then I'm just going to grab my red onion. Now this is an enormous red onion, so I'm going to go with a quarter of this red onion. I think there must be on steroids or something. I'm only kidding. So I'm just going to finely dice that there for us and throw that in. And then I'm going to also throw in something that's very near and dear to our hearts here in South Texas. I'm going to throw some jalapenos in. Probably not even pronouncing that properly. Oh, goodness, I'm making a bit of a mess.
It looks delicious.
Oh, well, I appreciate you. It's going to be really lovely. I can promise you that. So I'm just going to throw this in like so. Then I'm going to grab my jalapeno. The other thing I'm going to do is get 2 tablespoons of the pickling juice. All right, so this is going to give that real good zingy and sort of acidic little burst there as well. So
give it that bite.
That little bite, that little zing, that little, yeah, then that little acid in there as well, which is going to help things out a lot. So I'm just going to slice these up and pop those in like so. Another one will do, and then I'm going to whiz on out the back and pop my wonderful salmon into the oven. I'm going to pop that in for about 8 minutes. We never ever want to overcook salmon. I particularly like my salmon to be quite on the more medium, probably rare to medium side, but obviously that's also personal taste. Let me just do that ever so quickly. So that's my soles are done. I'll come back and finish that just before we plate this up, but I'm going to pop this in the oven now and I'll be back in about 8 minutes. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Stacey. Wow, she did a great job with that entree. So as she's preparing her entree in the back of the oven for about 8 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the holiday entree. Not the holiday entree, but the appetizer that goes with the holiday entree that she is preparing. So what I have here is I have a multi-grain bread. Now this is organic multi-grain bread. You can use a crostini, you can use a baguette, but tonight I wanted to use something a little more festive and also coarse for our appetizer. That smells so good. And I also have pomegranate as well. So what I like about this fusion as well is that you're incorporating pomegranate not only in the entree, but also in the appetizer. And my appetizer is based on a bread. So this will give it that beautiful holiday look, but also that light flavor on top. So that's really for my garnish. I have ricotta cheese, and I have mascarpone. Mascarpone and ricotta, as you know, are heavy fat cheeses, but we are going to infuse that with a honey, which I also have here. It's my raw honey. I also have an apricot preserve, and I have a little cardamom, a little bit of garlic, and a little bit of white pepper, and salt to taste. Okay, well, I'm going to get started. So what I do with my multigrain bread is I start to cut by the bias. So you cut by the bias. I'm going to do about a 1/4 inch thick on my cut. And since this is an appetizer, you don't need to go real heavy other than that 1/4 inch cut on the bias. I'm going to take that. I have about 5 slices or so, and I have my flat top here heated up, ready to go. I put down a little bit of olive oil, and all I need is just a little garlic, a little pepper, and a little salt in my oil to taste. I don't need anything heavy. I don't need onions, I don't need whole garlic. I just need something to kind of give it that base flavor that I want. So as that's heating up, I have it at a midpoint heat. I'm going to take my bread and I'm going to lightly toast it on my flat top. And I could smell her salmon. It smells so delicious back there. Okay, so as that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and get my filling ready to go. Now, as you know, mascarpone is so good for bagels, for it's kind of like a substitute cream cheese, but I love the richness and flavor. And that is why I choose this for my topping. So I'm literally going to take about half of that into my bowl. I'm going to take my ricotta and I'm actually going to mix the two together. So take about 1/4 cup of each. And I'm also going to take my raw honey, which I'm going to need a spoon for that. And I'm going to incorporate that into my mixture. 100% raw honey. And you need about, for 1/4 cup each, you need about 4 tablespoons of the honey. Of cheese. I'm sorry, half a cup of cheese with 4 tablespoons. And it goes really well with that bread. So once I break it down to the consistency that I like, you don't want it to be too light and fluffy, but you don't want it to be too heavy either. So that's about the look I'm looking for. So if you add a little bit of my garlic, just a pinch, a little bit of my salt. I have kosher salt. You can use Himalayan sea salt. And I have a little bit of cardamom. I'm just going to use about a teaspoon of that. Okay, and I'm actually going to put a little bit of my white pepper in as well. So go ahead and you'll continue to mix that together. And since I'm not feeding a crowd at the moment, I am going to go ahead and give it a taste. It's about the flavor that I want, so I'm happy with it. I'm pleased. I'm going to go back to my bread and I'm going to make sure that it's nice and toasted with that olive oil. Now you can do this on a grill, you can do this in the oven, or you can saute it. However you choose to cook your bread is totally fine, or heat up your bread. I'm liking the way this one looks, so I'm going to go ahead and get my plates ready. They're nice and heated and toasty. So I'm going to go ahead and place it onto my plate, like so. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my plates on over here. And I'm going to take my scoop here and I'm going to divvy up my mixture right on top of my bread. It just looks so elegant. So I'm just going to add a little bit of apricot preserve right on top there. I don't want to do too much, just a drop. Just gives it that really pretty color. And it actually adds a really nice flavor to that flavor profile that I currently have going on there on my plate. Okay. And then I'm going to take my rosemary. Now I just like to be very festive and I like to decorate. And so I'm just going to kind of decorate my plates. I could put some right on top there, just make it look really pretty, really elegant and festive. However you want to do this at home is your discretion, but I'm just going to kind of go underneath my crostini here and let it pop out a little bit. Just kind of elevate it. And then I'm going to take some of my pomegranate. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit on top, and I'm going to go a little bit around on my plate. Just gives it that really pretty red color that I want. And what I love about pomegranate is it's just packed with nutrients, antitoxins, and my oldest son loves it. Like, he'll eat it by the jar. And I'm always so pleased to see that because it is a very healthy fruit. And it's just a really nice garnish. It's very festive. And last but not least, you can choose to do this at home, but I do have a little balsamic glaze here. And as I finish up, we're gonna get it back to Stacy to finish up her entree, but this is what the appetizer looks like. Here. So I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and thank you for joining me with preparing my appetizer. Now back to that beautiful entree.
Doesn't that just look absolutely spectacular? Oh, I can't wait to get stuck into one of those. Okay, so my salmon is now done. If you have a broiler at home, you can also sort of pop it under there and you'll get a little bit more of that caramelization, that browning going on there. Literally, this is as simple as I'm just going to mix my salsa together so it's got that beautiful festive colours, really colours of Christmas, isn't it? We've got the greens and the reds and some beautiful onion in there and some jalapenos, and we've got some pickling juice. So you can make this as chunky or as fine salsa as you like. I personally like mine to be quite chunky, and you can either serve it on the side, so you could leave it in a bowl like so, and everyone could take some salmon and pop some on their plate, or alternatively, I think it looks really pretty if it's just popped. And I'll bring it over in a second and you can see some beautiful, lovely colours going on here on our plate of salmon. And this is just one of those wonderful dishes you pop in the middle of the table. So if we can see that one, if you pop that in the middle of the table and everyone grabs a portion for themselves, what an absolutely delicious entree. Just something a little bit lighter perhaps. So I've had a tremendous time. I so appreciate being here today with Creations Catering here in New Braunfels, and we do hope that you've enjoyed our little take on Christmas. I think that they both look really pretty.
I think they would make a wonderful Christmas dinner. What do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been super fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
And y'all enjoy these.
Have a great evening.
Merry Christmas.